Hello and welcome to your spoken English classes. So today is day 7 is one of the most important foundation days in this entire 50-day course because from today onwards we stop thinking that grammar is difficult and we start thinking that grammar helps me speak clearly. Okay, so today we are going to focus on simple grammar that actually helps you in speaking. All right. So in this session, I'm going to show you how one basic sentence structure that will help you control your English language. Okay. The easiest way to keep your sentences clear, how to match the verb with subject, and how to use a and the without fear. Along with that, I will also be showing you how to use in, on, and at confidently and how grammar supports meaning and not stress. And everything will be taught slowly, simply, step by step, and with real life examples. So there is no room for any kind of judgment. It's absolutely going to be a zero judgment session. So please do not worry about mistakes. Don't worry about sounding perfect. Today is a safe place. Now, your only job is to understand and speak. I will guide you. I will explain everything in detail. And by the end of the session, you will look at grammar and say, okay, this is not scary anymore. This actually makes sense. All right, so let's begin our session today. That is probably going to help you to enhance your grammar. All right, and that helps you to speak actually flawlessly. All right, starting with the most important idea in all of the English that we are looking at, that is the basic English sentence grammar and the basic English sentence order. Now that, as my friends, you can look on the screen now, as in how I'm highlighting, you absolutely can understand that any sentence structure starts with a pretty simple formula, that is your subject, your verb plus your, all right, plus your object. Okay. Now, in spoken English, word order is very, very important. When I tell you it's very important, let's go a little deeper into grammar, but not the grammar that scares you. All right. We are going to talk about how grammar actually helps you to speak more clearly. Because here's the truth. All right. It feels that it's very difficult. However, if you follow this particular formula, your sentences almost all the time sound correct. Okay. Now, if this order is correct, the listener understands easily. That is nothing but subject, verb plus object. That's it. Subject is the person who's doing the action. Verb is the action, and the object is where you're going to kind of do it and whatever that is relating to that situation. All right. Now let's look at some examples here. Okay. Sorry. I drink tea. I is pretty much the subject. Drink obviously is the verb or the action word, as I can say, and tea is the object. Now, this is a clear structure. Okay. Now, it's pretty much clear because it helps you to learn English. It's quite natural, and it helps you to form that basic English structure when you look at sentences. All right. Now, let's kind of focus on another example, that is they watch movies. Again, they is a subject, watch is a verb, and movies is nothing but the object. Now that's a good spoken English sentence. All right. Now let's kind of compare it with something that sounds a bit funny. All right. Let's first of all break it down. I want to break this down for you. That is, I I drink tea. In I drink tea, I, that is the subject. This means who is doing the action. And drink, that is the verb. The verb is the action that's happening. And tea, as I told you, just look at this here. Object, it says it is tea, right? Here. Okay. So, tea, that is the object. The object is the thing receiving the action. Okay. So, I drink tea. Very clear, very natural, and very English. Another example is we learn English. Here, again, subject is we, verb is learn, and object is English. Again, very simple, normal, natural, and spoken English. All right. As I told you, another example is we they watch movies. The same drill for that sentence as well. Did you notice something here? If you can just think to yourself, if there is something that is similar in all the examples that I've just spoke about, is that the structure never changes, my friends. It is subject first, verb second, object, or you can also call something known as an idea, can be followed by the verb. So subject first, or verb second, and object or the idea which is last. Now let's reverse this and see how exactly it sounds. All right. Let's just reverse the order. Okay. I say tea, that is the object. And then I say subject, that is I. Then I say drink, that is the verb. I say tea, I drink. The words are correct. They are simply correct, but the order is wrong. That is why I say not only in physics or mathematics you have formulas, even English carries certain sets of formulas, and if you kind of wrap your head around these formulas, I pretty much say that you do not really have to brainstorm. Okay. Now, tea I drink, does it even sound right? It does not, because the word order is broken. Okay, it is grammatically wrong in English. You just cannot switch those formulas around. You just have to stick by them. So even though every word is correct, the sentence does not feel natural to the listener. Okay, it means your listener will feel uncomfortable. Forget about you speaking fluently. It feels that something's wrong. It can never be tea I drink. It is I drink tea. Okay. So the rule number one is very simple to understand. We are going to jump into certain other rules as well in the upcoming sessions. However, this is something to help you to get into the basics of grammar. As I told you, after day 6, we are going to start a bit of grammar, and it is going to get intense at the end of the sessions. So they are like, it's like 50-day course. So we just at day 7. Now we have started grammar, and I promise you we are going to give you some value added services here at GK Pro. Okay, let's go on. Now, always start with the subject. When I say always start with the subject, it is something that you really need to keep it in mind, like your name. Okay, your name also is a subject. You are a subject, so just keep it in mind. Always start with the subject. Okay, now let's move on to section B. I'm sorry, section B. Now, what does section B actually say? It is subject and verb match. Another very important criteria or a parameter to keep in head when I'm talking about talking proper English grammatically. Till day 6th, we were talking about certain strategies and analogies and methodologies that you can actually use to speak fluently. And I also, in the last session, that is day 6, kind of mentioned how to overcome that silent or the silence when a person kind of randomly asks you a question. I also shared certain ways and certain methods how you overcome silence when a person kind of asks you questions. Now we are getting into real grammar, so I would really want you to focus when I'm kind of going on with these sessions. All right, so in English, sometimes the verb changes depending on the subject. Okay, when I say that, please don't worry. The rule is very, very small, and I promise you it's very simple as well. Okay, so just look at the screen here. All right, it's known as the subject verb match. In the sense, it is where a person is looking at making friends. That is, a subject has to be friends with the verb. Also, or aka known as subject verb agreement. All right, simple spoken rule. It's a simple spoken rule. So in English, the verb sometimes changes. For example, all right, just look at the thing here. See, if I use subject as I, you, we, and they, all these 4 subjects use the base verb. Now, when you look at he, she, it, Now these subjects use verb plus and yes. I'm sorry, S in the sense the alphabet S. Okay. So you add an S to the verb only when your subject is he, she, it. All right. Let's look at some examples so that you can understand. Now, see. So I work. Okay, I work. As I told you, look at the screen, please. So when you say I, your your verb is a base verb. For example, work. Okay, I work sounds pretty natural and kind of correct when I talk. I work. All right, you work. All right, we work. They work. Now, so far nothing has changed, my friends, but now watch this. When you use he as a subject, she as a subject, or it as a subject, your verb pretty much needs an yes, I'm sorry, an s over here. I'm sorry, I just kind of let me just go back. Yes, okay, see, look at here, that is he works. Okay, when you use your subject as he, she, or it, the verb pretty much adds an S. Only then it sounds correct. So he works, she works, and it works. Only he, she, and it needs an S in this particular section. All right. You do not need to remember the name, you just need to remember the pattern. Okay, now let's look at some real life examples. As I promised you at the beginning of this particular day, that is day 7, that we are going to look at some real life examples and some correction markers where exactly a person might go wrong when they are not using the s in front of the subject that is needed at that point of time. Okay, now let's look at this. He work in IT. If you can wrap your head around that, that is he work, sorry, yes, he work in IT does not sound right at all. Absolutely, it is a wrong sentence. Why? Because he picks up works as his friend. Okay, and so your correct sentence would be he works in IT. Now that is pretty much correct. It's a small rule, but trust me, it's going to help you to improve in clarity, and it's a big time step towards improving your fluency as well. All right, so many learners say this. I want to kind of share a secret with you. That is, as I remember in the previous sessions, we also spoke about something known as translation. Probably it might be the day 4 or the day 5 of the course. There I spoke about mother tongue translation, when a person is actually looking at translating the whole sentence from his or her mother tongue to English. Now, in that case, what happens? Their native language changes the verb form. So that is why many people do not kind of come across using the correct type of verb forms, that is either a plural or a singular form. Okay, so there is where guys, that the subject verb agreement is totally damaged. Kind of remember, you have to keep this rule in your head. All right, that small s makes your English sound clear and natural, like a real speaker. It is a small rule, as I told you, but trust me, it gives you that boost when you speak in English. All right, great. Now let's move on to section C. Now, section C is my favorite. Why? Because it deals with articles. Okay, articles in English are nothing to be scared of. They're pretty much the alphabets here, that is A, okay, and the, all right, and then an. Okay, these three together are known as articles. Now let's talk about them a little bit. Okay, many learners fear articles, but actually they are very simple, as I told you. When you think in meaning, I just want to break it down for you. Okay, so a or an, okay, a or an, it means, just look at the screen here, it means that it is one, in the sense it can be used for anything general. All right, I'm not deep diving into grammatical knowledge here. As I told you, these are spoken English sessions where we are looking at enhancing your fluency according to certain curated methods at GK Pro. Okay, so let's go on. So a and an, okay, it looks at something general. Keep that in mind. Now this, my friends, that is a, okay, and an kind of looks at something general. General in the sense it can be anything. All right. And then if you look at this special word, the, this talks about something very specific. Okay. Let's go on and look at some examples here. All right. I have a car. I have a car. It can be any car. You don't need to know which car you have. Okay, it could be any car really. Now, let's look at the same sentence but with our friend the here. I have the car. Now, we both know which one, in the sense there is a particular car a person has. Okay, that is why the importance of the, a and an actually, differentiates. Now, let's look at another example. Okay, I bought a phone. It can be any phone. It can be a Vivo, it can be an iPhone, it can be any phone. Okay, now if I take the same sentence and just add a the phone is black. Now the phone that the sentence that says I bought a phone pretty much becomes specific because I'm talking about the black phone that I have bought. Now that is the importance. All right, that is the importance when you're looking at using a, an, and the as your articles. So again, let me reinforce that the rule is pretty simple, right? First time I used a, second time I used the. Now that's it. There's nothing that you need to be stressing about. The rule is pretty simple. The can be used when you're kind of pointing out at a particular object. The the red dress, the majestic mountain, like the Himalayas, okay, or the wide sea. It can be any sea. So the is used when you're kind of looking at specifically talking about a noun. Now a and an is kind of used when you're looking at something in general. All right, just think about the meaning. Now till here we have kind of covered three rules. That is your word for sentence formation, that is subject verb plus object. The second rule that we spoke about is subject verb agreement. And the third one is when we are looking at using the articles. Okay, let's quickly jump to section D. Okay, this is again something very important known as prepositions: in, on, and at. So here I would just want you to know that what exactly are prepositions. When you look at the word prepositions itself, you understand that there is something related to positions. Okay, all right, positions in the sense what? What do you mean by positions? It is like in, okay, that's also position. On, now that is on also is a position. At, all right, all these are positions. These are very common. These are very common positions, that is in, on, and at. And they are used for time and place as well. For example, let's look at the screen. Okay, when we talk about time, all right, now when we talk about time, if you look at in as a preposition, you use it when you're talking in terms of months, years, or long time. So the example is in June or in 2024. On the other hand, we can use it when we are going to talk about days or dates, like on Monday, on 15th of May, and so on. When we talk about exact time, like sharp, all right, sharp at that particular time, we use at 7 p.m., at 8:30 a.m. So things like that. Now let's talk about place, which is very common, all right, which is common in our daily conversations as well. Now, in in can be used when you're talking about being in a city, a country, or inside, inside the swimming pool, things like that. Places like that, I'm sorry. So an example is in India, in my room, or in Dubai, in the swimming pool, etc. On the other hand, is used when you're talking about surfaces. Surface in the sense where on a particular platform that you're standing. On the stage, it's a good example, right? The public speakers are on the stage, or the girl's performance was on the stage. So things like that. Or on the table is also an example. Okay, at At is another important preposition. When we actually look at it by itself, it can be used to specify a particular location. Okay, location or a point. For example, at the bus stop, at work, at the mall, at my aunt's house. So these are certain examples there, where you do not need to actually memorize all of this by today. It's just that you need to kind of keep in mind where the prepositions are useful. Okay. Now, grammar actually improves with use. All right. Keep that in mind. These patterns are very important. The ones that I've been speaking about at the start of day 7, that is today. Please keep these patterns in your head. So these are the basic grammar foundation rules about subject, verb, object, about subject, verb agreement, about your articles, that is a, an, and the, and your prepositions as well. People, please try to practice, expose yourself to these kind of mini kind of lessons wherein I'm just telling you to practice. That is very important, and use it in real life. Talk to your friends. Keep these patterns in your head whilst you're speaking. It's okay if you're going for those pauses, but trust me, you will improve by time and by the usage of these strategies. So today, just understand the patterns. Now, your mind will slowly understand it as you keep listening and speaking more English. Okay. Now, there is in every session, I kind of get you something known as the guided practice. All right. Please pause the video here. Okay. Please pause the video here and try to practice this. The formula, that is subject, verb, and idea. I just want you to repeat these sentences, read it aloud whilst you're pausing the video. Okay, great. So, sorry. I live in India. She works at a school. We meet on a Sunday. They study in the evening. All right. These are the things that I just kind of want you to read after pausing the video. If you have done that, great job. Okay. Now, let's look at how this connects to your strategy. That is, meaning first, that is, grammar supports meaning. When I say that, I just want to kind of tell you that grammar actually supports the meaning. So always remember, many people say grammar is everything. You need to be pretty much flawless in grammar. I do understand it is partially correct that yes, you have to be strong in grammar, but my dear friends, grammar is not the boss of English, okay? You still can understand these are certain patterns that we are using. Okay, these are patterns, and we need to understand that grammar is a helper, it is not the boss. All right, grammar is the helper, it is not the boss. Your confidence is boss. So now, why do you think when I say grammar is not the boss and grammar is the helper, why do you think it is? Because your word order is something that matters. That is your subject, verb plus object. Your verb forms, as I told you, your subject and verb agreement, the friendship in between. Your preposition, okay, actually helps you increase your precision, and articles are our friends. They help you to enhance the way you speak, and it is pretty much clear the listener is at peace. All right. So again, I am kind of reinforcing the same point. Confidence is something that stays more, with you, and it is important than perfection. So kind of go ahead and try to understand the concept and use these patterns. Don't get scared when people say grammar is difficult. They are again a kind of a GPS tracker in a person's mind. If you help yourself with these patterns, and I definitely assure you that you are on the road to enhance your fluency. Okay, so now from I just want to kind of again give you a certain information. All right. Okay, so today you kind of learned how English sentences are built, how verbs match the subject, how to use a and the, okay, how to use in, on, and at, also known as prepositions, in simple daily English. Okay, now from day 8 onwards, we will start adding time, okay, meaning. That is, we are going to kind of focus on present, past, and future tenses. We are going to get into that. And then we are also going to kind of slowly and clearly understand how you kind of play with all these grammatical rules. But please be rest assured, do not worry, do not rush, just keep learning one day at a time. Kind of tune into our 50-day course. It's completely free on YouTube. So this is how the YouTube videos are going to work for you. That is, it's going to add real grammar value. It keeps students confident. That is, it helps you to stay confident. Okay, you begin and your English becomes better. All right, now we are also looking at something very important here, that it feels professional, in the sense it will help you to kind of get to that particular level of professionalism, because we are starting from scratch, that is from a dotted region of this language known as English. So guys, please give us that support. We are kind of giving you the raw content, and this is what matters. All right, and lastly, it prepares you to use those tenses, and the tenses are also going to come up next. Probably from day 10 we are going to start our tense sessions. All right, all the 12 tenses will be covered. So go ahead and practice every day again. So I'm again reinforcing you, practice makes perfect. Please also understand that not only mathematics and physics and other subjects needs practice, English also needs a lot of practice. So go ahead, my friends, and kind of use these sessions at your leisure. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Have a great day ahead.